And we are kicking off the week in a big way here. I am in Las Vegas, joined by the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders in Phoenix, Dave Ziegler. Dave, I'm a little jealous. I was telling Josh earlier, your background looks a lot nicer than mine does. We got the birds chirping, the sun is shining. Life is good for you guys down there, huh?
Life is good. Weather is great. It's definitely a little warmer here than what we're experiencing here in Henderson. So yeah, sun's shining, birds are out. It's a beautiful day. Good day to be alive.
Absolutely. Well, let's start here. It's been a while since we talked to you, and since the last time we spoke, the Raiders have made no shortage of moves, and I think the biggest one, the one that the fan base is, I would say, the most excited about for the time being, is Jimmy Garoppolo, right? A new signal caller for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm just curious, when we look at Jimmy and his body of work, how important was it for you and Josh that this is a guy who, wherever he has been, just finds a way to win football games?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, if there's two important aspects of the quarterback position, it's someone that has, I'd say, a high level of leadership skills and someone that has been a proven winner. And that's what Jimmy's done over the course of his career. He's a guy that we have some background with. We also have done, a lot of research on Jimmy since he was with us in New England during his time in San Francisco. And the two things that you get when you talk to people that have been around Jimmy is that Jimmy has a way about him from a leadership standpoint where the locker room embraces him. And Jimmy has a lot of belief from the team as a quarterback because he's went out and won a lot of football games. And those are two highly important characteristics when you're talking about any quarterback, and those are two things that Jimmy's embodied over the course of his career.
We heard from Josh this morning, and he was asked about whether or not the addition of Jimmy kind of changes the calculus for you all at number 7. And really, he said it's just a benefit now, right? It's you have the luxury of really being able to be a little more nimble and kind of letting the board speak to. When you look at having the quarterback in place, from a general manager perspective, how valuable is that to have now as we get ready to dive into the first round of the draft next month?
Yeah, well, having a level of, I'd say, stability or comfort with who you have at the starting quarterback position going in, in the offseason, going into a new season. There's a level of comfort with that. So we feel good about that. And in terms of the draft, going in, it's again, I think anytime, whether it's the quarterback position or whether it's any other position, when you do not feel that you have to make a play at a position, it holds you back from, I think, overreaching, convincing yourself that something is worth taking at that point when maybe it's not, and you can start to overreach in those situations, in those circumstances. And so we have that going into the draft with the quarterback position, and so there is a level of comfort with that. And at the same time, we're never going to be afraid at the quarterback position to make that position a position of strength, and so if that means we're drafting a young player, at a certain point of the draft, we're always going to be open to doing that, no matter, regardless of what our situation is, and so that's going to be no different this year.
Speaking sticking to guys that are on the offensive side of the football, Jacoby Myers, a guy that has come in, and I was telling Josh this morning, really hard not to root for a guy like that. I mean, you sit down with him for 30 seconds, and an incredibly, nice, incredibly engaging young man. And when you on a football, from a football point of view, Dave, what was it about Jacoby that you really were attracted to and decided to ultimately bring him to Las Vegas?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that we're looking to build here as we're constructing this roster and we're constructing the identity of the Las Vegas Raiders here in Las Vegas is players that have a chip on their shoulder, players that have earned their way, players that have an edge. Those are guys that, we want the fabric of our team to eventually have that look and have that feel to it. And when you look at how Jacoby came in the league, you see a guy that was an undrafted player that really had to make his way. He was a quarterback in college. He switched the receiver position, an underdog mentality, and Jacoby's worked for everything that he's gotten. He has a high passion and a love for football, which is another important trait that we want the Las Vegas Raiders to embody. And so that's there's some intangible things there that are really attractive to us. The player, Jacoby's showed the ability consistently over the course of 3+ years here to be able to get open and catch the football versus some of the better defensive backs in the league. from multiple alignments. He can do it from the inside. He's done it from the outside. Highly productive player and reliable player on third down, which is a critical down in the NFL. And so, Jacoby has a lot of, I'd say, intangible traits, and then the physical skill sets and what he's done in the league as a receiver speaks to itself. And so, to be able to allow us to add another guy at a scoring position that can move the chains, that can get open, catch the football, and be productive for us, is something that's really attractive to us.
On the defensive side of the ball now, you talk about guys that have a chip on their shoulder who have earned their way in the NFL. Marcus Epps has very much done that, right? A 6th-round pick who was scratched and clawed and seen his growth get bigger and bigger and bigger, ultimately playing last year in the Super Bowl. When you look at him and his skill set and what he can do on Patrick Graham's defense in 2023, what excites you about having him, be wearing the silver and black and going forward?
Yeah, and you said it, like from the intangible, another guy, self-made guy, drafted in the 6th round by the Vikings, released by the Vikings, claimed by the Philadelphia Eagles, and worked his way up the Eagles roster. And this is a competitive roster. This is a program that we have a lot of respect for. This was something that he had to earn, and he did it. I think he played 99% of the snaps last year in Philadelphia. When you kind of dig into some of the intangibles on Marcus Epps was a leader in that secondary. He was a guy that was highly intelligent, that could make sure that people knew what was going on, and then could also solve problems on the back end too. And when you have a safety that has that high of a football intelligence, that can kind of run the defense, if you will, if needs be, from the back end, but definitely run the secondary and make sure not only that things are right, but problems are getting solved on the fly, that's something that is really attractive about Marcus Epps. And then when you talk about the skill set, you're talking about someone that has some, I'd say, interchangeable traits. Marcus has shown the ability to be a reliable player in coverage. He can make plays both from on a back end and have range on the back end. He's made plays in the short intermediate, driving, pattern reading and driving to the football. And then he also is a player that shows up in the run game. And so I think this day and age in football, when you have safeties that have those interchangeable traits, you really can't put them in a box. They can do a little bit of everything. That's what we're looking for in our safety position. And then stacking on I would say, high-level traits, high-level football intelligence. Again, smart, tough, loves football, dependable player. Those are attractive traits for us as we're building this roster here in Las Vegas.
We were talking to Josh this morning, and he brought up a few times just the importance of signing guys that were committed to being a part of this program, not for just a year, but really kind of a long-term type view. And as a general manager, how do you kind of gauge that when you are looking at guys? You say, hey, this guys could be a great fit for us, but this is someone that we want to be part of our program for 2, 3, however many years it is. How do you kind of gauge that out when you're going through the free agency process?
Yeah, and some of that's driven by the agents themselves, and I'd say the agents and certain players. I mean, there's certain players that are, based on maybe where their career's at or what they're attempting to do within their career. Some guys only want to sign a 1-year deal, maybe a prove-it deal where they want to try to test the market and hopefully maybe have a higher value the following year in the market. And then other guys are more comfortable signing 2-year deals, based on whatever those circumstances may be personally for them. So for us, though, there was definitely attraction going into free agency of finding some guys that were, I'd say, younger football players that we felt were still hitting their stride, or if you want to say, like, their careers are still on an upward trajectory, and locking some of those players into multiple year deals. We wanted to make the commitment to them. We want them to make the commitment to being a Raider for more than 1 year. There's a lot of different aspects when you're on a 1-year deal versus a 2-year deal, just in terms of the mentality and things like that. I think we wanted some guys that we wanted to make a commitment to, that wanted to make a commitment to us, that we can build around, that we know are going to be here with us to continue to build the roster that we want with the types of players that we want. And we found some of those guys in, Marcus Epps and Robert Spillane and Brandon Faison, and, some players where their goals and their ideals met up with ours. And then there's going to be some players that don't, and that doesn't mean that they're not good fits for us, but there was definitely a focus on some guys that we could add that had some of those traits, had some of those intangibles that were also, I'd say, in the upward trajectory part of their career, that we were able to do that with.
Just wrapping up here with Dave Ziegler. And Dave, we look at the tight end room as it stands now for your 2023 Las Vegas Raiders. A bunch of new faces in there, right? Austin Hooper, O.J. Howard, some old friends that are no longer in that room. When you look at kind of the reimagined tight end room for the Las Vegas Raiders as it stands right now, what kind of excites you about this group going forward?
Yeah, I think it's a group that has good versatility, and I'll start even going back all the way to Cole Fotheringham. He spent the year on our practice squad. We saw a lot of development out of Cole. Cole's a guy that had showed the ability in practice during our competitive periods to be able to get open and catch the football, and he also has an edge and a toughness to him that allowed him to be competitive as a run blocker, and so we like that. Then we have Jesper Horsted's back with us, and Jesper created a role for himself in the kicking game, which having a player that can do that and get to the game each week and contribute on fourth down is a very important thing. And Jesper showed the ability as a pass catcher to be able to, again, a guy that can get open, and he can get open from some different alignments. And then we added obviously O.J. Howard and Austin Hooper, and O.J.'s a big target. You've seen him throughout his career be able to show up in the red zone. He's a big target to work down the seam. He has a wide catch radius where the quarterback doesn't always have to be perfect. He showed the ability to go up and get the football, and then he has the size and length to be competitive as a run blocker on the edge. And then you go to Austin Hooper, who's really, again, he's been a consistent guy throughout his career in terms of being a productive pass catcher. He's finds a way to get open. He finds a way to catch the football. Austin has, I'd say, a high football IQ. His ability to operate in zone coverage, to find voids in zone coverage, to find open creases where he's able to catch the football and find those holes on the run is something that's been attractive to us. And Austin's also a guy that's developed into a player that's figured out what he needs to do to be successful as a blocker. He doesn't need to go out there and try to drive people off the ball, but he can use his athleticism, he uses his technique, he uses his run fits to be able to be an effective position blocker and be someone that can be competitive out there in the run game too. And so that group has a lot to prove, but we like their versatility. We like some of the duality that they have in their traits as run game players and passing game players, and excited to see that group gel together. And that's what they're going to have to do, is gel together and grow within our system.
And last one for you, Dave. I know that we're kind of in the midst of kind of pro day extravaganza right now. I mean, for you and Josh and Champ and the rest of the staff, whether it's quarterback, linebacker, receiver, whatever position it may be, what's kind of the goal for you all when you go to these pro days and have a chance to talk to coaches and to see some of these guys live and in person?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things. I think when you have that opportunity, you do have the opportunity to see those players up close and personal from just a body type standpoint. Look at how they're built, and you're able to see some of those things in the combine on pictures and things like that. But to be able to pro day, you're really able to get up close with these players and just from a body type standpoint, see how they're built, see what their body structure is, which is important for us. Then I'd say the other part that I think is highly valuable for us is just being able to spend time with the players, whether that be the night before or after the pro day, and spend some time, whether it be in the classroom or whether it be just on a personal level. And it's all, you get an opportunity to interview these players and get to know them in a more detailed way. And so there's a lot of value in that. It's probably one of the most valuable aspects of going to the pro days. And then again, getting to see the players perform again in a live setting, getting to see, feel the speed, see their movement skills up close. There's value in all of those aspects too. So I think, there's multiple ways that the pro day is valuable, and I think the most valuable, at least in my opinion, is our ability to spend time and in an interview session, if you will, to be able to dig and get to know these players, whether it's their football intelligence, whether it's their personal character, whatever it may be, to get some more answers that you may have that you have with each one of these players individually.
Well, David, like I said, no shortage of exciting things surrounding the Las Vegas Raiders right now. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. Enjoy your time in Phoenix. Safe travels back here, and we'll catch up with you here in Vegas, all right?
Appreciate you. Have a good day.